Protesters hijacked Jerry Seinfeld's Melbourne show. Here's why it matters.
You know what you ought to do? You should go to her office and heckle her.
Yeah, right.
You know, like all the comedians always say, how would you like it if I came to where you work and heckled you?
What is up, guys? It's Mike here. Welcome back to my channel. Make sure you smash that subscribe button and leave a comment and a thumbs up. Let's get into it. Okay, so recently on this channel, I talked about how Jerry Seinfeld is in this midst of being cancelled, and go and watch that video if you want to hear my thoughts on that. But at the moment, Jerry Seinfeld is here in Australia, where I live, and he recently was heckled or hijacked by protesters at his show at Kudos Arena in Sydney.
It has happened again. US comedian Jerry Seinfeld's show has been targeted by more demonstrators who held up a Palestinian flag mid-gig.
Of course, they were protesting against Jerry Seinfeld's support of Israel. Of course, Jerry Seinfeld is a Jewish comedian, and in this whole Israel-Hamas war, he is definitely on Team Israel, which isn't something I'm going to unpack today, but I do think as an American Jew, it isn't surprising to me at all that Jerry Seinfeld is supporting Israel. And again, I don't want to talk about the complexities of the Hamas-Israel war because I don't even really understand it that well myself. So I'm more interested in talking about the pop culture implications and how Jerry Seinfeld handled this hijacking. Because if you didn't see the videos that went out, it was pretty well handled by Jerry Seinfeld, who kind of used his usual sass and sardonic nature to patronize and belittle the people who swarmed his show. Here's a little taster of it.
We're all on your side now because you have made your point so well and in the right venue. You've come to the right place.
I think this is really interesting for a few reasons. Personally, while I respect the right of individuals and groups to protest against the government, or individuals, I guess, in this case, I've always been a little bit more skeptical about the effectiveness of protests.
Why don't you try protesting?
Yeah, protesting never works.
You're right. I'll give it a shot.
This goes to what Jerry Seinfeld is saying here to these people when he is sarcastically saying that they have solved the war in the Middle East and you've convinced everyone and everyone's going to be on your side now. I mean, protest is a fundamental part of living in a democracy, and that is a really important part of what Australia is. That being said, this particular protest, as well as others that I've seen recently, don't really feel to me as though they are going to inspire change in everyday people. And I would say that most Australians think that most of the wars going on in the world, whether it be Israel and Hamas or Ukraine versus Russia or whatever it is, I think most people in Australia think that the things that are happening around the world are horrible. But at the same time, and this might be controversial, but I think a lot of people are more focused on their day-to-day lives and making ends meet for their own families to actually put in a lot of thought and effort into something that's happening in a different part of the world. Again, I accept that that is a controversial opinion and people might say that everyone should be paying full attention to what is happening everywhere in the world, but I think most people aren't as politically minded as people who are going to go and protest, which makes perfect sense. When I look at protests in Australia by like the Extinction Rebellion people, I always kind of think that their message is really important, but I don't think that the way that they go about it is going to change anybody's mind or make anybody do anything differently. Often they block major roads and cause an inconvenience to just day-to-day people who are trying to get to work to earn a paycheck. And really, it's the governments and the councils who have the ability to do anything in these cases. So affecting day-to-day people who don't really have any power is not going to solve that problem. And in some ways, to me, it ends up coming across as like a threat to the government of like, if you don't act, we're going to ruin everybody else's lives and we're going to cause trouble around the city, which I don't think is the right message because people just get genuinely annoyed at these people, which I think retracts from support of an important cause. And I guess that's the same way that I think a lot of people might be feeling about this protest at Jerry Seinfeld's show, because as much as people probably do care about this cause, they have paid money to see this show. And to a lot of people, they've worked really hard to get the exorbitant amount of money that Jerry Seinfeld is charging to see him live. I wanted to go to the show, but I decided it was just a little bit too expensive for me. And their experience is interrupted by someone who thinks that this cause is more important. That's not me saying it's not more important than a comedy show, but is it the right forum to voice your protest? And of course, you could argue, well, yes, because they are protesting against Jerry Seinfeld. But I feel like when you are impacting the experience of thousands of people, all of whom have paid their hard-earned money to just have an experience that takes them away from their day-to-day, takes them away from how they are feeling day-to-day, and is supposed to just be an escape and entertainment, and bringing this political paradigm into it is probably not the best idea. I really don't see how doing that achieves anything for anybody in that room. And as far as I can tell, pretty much everyone in the arena was annoyed at the protests and trying to get them out. Overall, I think disruptive protests definitely make a point, but I don't know how effective they are long term in changing minds or making things happen and change. I think maybe they're a desperate attempt to get attention for a cause, which definitely works, but I think the public definitely don't respond in the way that I think the protesters want them to respond. And overall, I think Jerry Seinfeld handled this like an absolute pro. Thank you so much for watching this video, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comment. Do you think protests work? Do you think Jerry Seinfeld handled it well? Definitely leave a comment and a thumbs up and subscribe. The channel is growing and I would love to have a few new people on board. You can also support me on Patreon, patreon.com/RadioMike to see more videos like this. Thanks to all my Patreon supporters so far. And subscribe. I think I said that already, but to be honest, I can't remember. My mind is running 1,000 words per minute. So guys, have a great day. My name is Radio Mike, and this has been The Inside of My Mind. Catch you later.